It was a cold and sorrowful night in 1929, when the streets of America were filled with lines of unemployed people. It was the era history remembers as the Great Depression. Wealthy businessmen had become bankrupt, and middle-class families were fighting hunger day and night. But during that same time, in a narrow alley of Philadelphia, inside a tiny house, a woman named Alice was serving warm food to her 4 children. Her neighbors were often amazed. When everyone else's stoves had gone cold, how was the smell of fresh food still coming from Alice's kitchen? And the biggest surprise came when, as soon as the economic crisis ended, Alice bought a new house in another part of the city. Alice did not have a magical lamp. She had something far more powerful. She had 20 secret rules her elders had brought with them through migration and hardship. These were the same rules that made one poor family completely unstoppable. Welcome to Nostalgic America. Today's video is not just information, it is a financial treasure chest. Today, we are taking you deep into the dark rooms of history, where light existed only in the homes of those who knew the secret laws of saving money. Today, we will reveal 20 impossible money hacks that helped old-school families stay rich, even when they had almost nothing. These were the methods that made sure money didn't leave their hands, it stayed with them. And once you understand these forgotten tricks, you may never look at money the same way again. So let us begin the journey of these 20 golden rules. Trick number 1. The Master Pot Strategy. Alice and people of her time never cooked separate meals for every single day. Instead, once a week, they would take one very large pot and prepare a rich, base meal using whatever vegetables, a little meat, and some beans or lentils were available. This became their master meal. Something that could be transformed and reused for the next 3 to 4 days. On the first day, it was served as a fresh stew. On the second day, it was made thicker and eaten with bread. And on the third day, they added water and stale bread to turn it into a delicious soup. This saved fuel, reduced labor, and made sure not a single grain of food was wasted. Today, we waste thousands chasing new dishes every day, while they could survive an entire week from one single pot. Trick number 2. The resurrection of bread. Back then, the trash bin was the least used item in the kitchen. If bread became old, dry, or hard, it was never thrown away. Alice would soak it in water or milk to soften it, then use it as filling for meatballs or patties. Sometimes, the bread pieces were toasted on the stove and crushed into breadcrumbs that could be used for months in different recipes. For them, throwing away bread was not just disrespecting food, it was like taking money out of your own wallet and throwing it into the street. This tiny habit created enough yearly savings to buy shoes for the children for an entire year. Trick number 3. Growing gold from dirt. People of that era did not need expensive organic sections in supermarkets. Alice had no garden. But she had kitchen windows and old tin cans. She used those cans to grow tomatoes, green chilies, and fresh herbs like parsley and cilantro. Leftover kitchen water was used for watering the plants. Vegetable peels became fertilizer. And just like that, small daily kitchen needs were fulfilled from the soil of her own home. This was not just saving money. It was a survival skill. A skill that turned an ordinary home into a self-sufficient fortress during hard times. Trick number 4. The patchwork philosophy. Today, if something gets slightly damaged, we replace it. But in Alice's time, the rule was simple. Use it. Wear it. Repair it. Or learn to live without it. If a bedsheet tore in the middle, they didn't throw it away. They cut it through the center, stitched the edges together, and gave it a second life. Old clothes were turned into rugs, quilts, or floor mats. Buying something new was always the last option. Because to them, True wealth was not how much money you made. It was how much money you stopped from leaving. Trick number 5. The untouchable tin. Alice did not have a bank account. But hidden behind a loose piece of plaster in her wall was an old metal tin. Her rule was simple. She never waited to save what was left over. The moment money entered her hand, the first thing she did was place one coin, or $1, inside that tin. Then she forgot about it. She only opened it for something truly important. Like the down payment for a new house. This out of sight, out of mind method was far more powerful than today's digital wallets. Because taking money out was difficult. And putting money in became an obsession. Trick number 6. The currency of skills. Back then, a neighborhood was not just a place to live. It was an entire economic system. People had little cash, so they kept the barter system alive. If a neighbor needed clothes stitched, they came to Alice. And in return, they might repair broken furniture in her house. No money changed hands. Yet both people got what they needed. Today, we spend thousands hiring services for the smallest tasks. But they believed your hands were your real currency. To them, a useful skill was more valuable than money sitting in a bank. Trick number 7. Friendship with sunlight. Their method of reducing electricity bills was incredibly simple, but powerful. They lived according to nature's schedule. As soon as the sun rose, every curtain in the house was opened. Natural light and warmth were used as much as possible. Heavy work was finished during daylight. And after sunset, artificial light was kept to an absolute minimum. Instead of lighting many rooms, the entire family stayed together in one room. One light. One source of heat. Shared by everyone. This discipline is still one of the best solutions for today's rising electricity bills. Trick number 8. The cobbler's wisdom. In those days, shoes were not fashion. They were an investment. Every week, Alice's husband carefully cleaned his shoes and rubbed oil or grease into the leather so it would stay soft and never crack. If the sole wore out, he did not buy new shoes. He simply added a piece of rubber underneath and made them useful again. One pair of shoes could last 10 years. Buying something new was never a lifestyle. It was only for real necessity. As long as the old one could still serve. There was no reason for the new one to exist. Trick number 9. The art of canning. When fruits and vegetables became cheap during summer, Alice did not use them only for fresh meals. She preserved them in glass jars for the future. Tomato puree. Fruit jams. Pickled vegetables. Everything was prepared in advance for winter, when those same items would cost double in the market. Because of this future saving, inflation never shocked her. They understood the value of timing. And by buying during cheap seasons, they controlled the budget of the entire year. Trick number 10. The penny a mile rule. For them, transportation was a luxury. If the destination was only 2 or 3 miles away, they would never wait for a bus or tram. Alice's husband used to say, "The money I saved on fare is one extra glass of milk for my children." Walking was not just saving money. It was also health insurance. Today, we take the car even for nearby shops. But they walked miles. And by the end of the month, those saved pennies became a serious amount of money. Trick number 11. The homemade alchemist. Instead of expensive cleaning products and harsh chemicals, Alice's kitchen was her laboratory. She used vinegar, lemon, and baking soda to clean almost everything in the house. From shining dishes to scrubbing floors, she never needed expensive branded cleaners. These natural ingredients were not only cheaper, but also much safer for the family's health. In this way, every year, she could pull a large amount of money out of the household cleaning budget and quietly place it into her savings tin. Trick number 12. The second brew. Coffee was expensive even in those days. Alice never used coffee beans or grounds only once. The first brew, the strongest one, was served to her husband before he left for work. Then the same grounds were boiled again to make a lighter coffee for herself and the children. They called it long coffee. For them, squeezing every last bit of usefulness from something was not cheapness. It was wisdom. This tiny daily saving looked small. But by the end of the year, it turned into real money. Trick number 13. Destiny written on paper. They had no budgeting apps. But their accounting was often more accurate than modern computers. Alice kept a small notebook where she wrote down every single cent. Her belief was simple. If money is not tracked, it does not belong to you. At the beginning of every week, she divided expenses into separate envelopes. Food, rent, clothing, emergency. If the food envelope became empty, she did not steal money from another envelope. She simply adjusted and lived more simply. This discipline and self-control were the true secret of her success. Trick number 14. The zero-cost joy. These people had learned how to be happy without depending on money. Alice and her children went to the park. They read storybooks to each other. They played simple games with neighborhood children. Instead of expensive cinemas and theaters, they created music nights at home or borrowed free books from the public library. They understood something many people still fail to learn. Happiness does not come from your wallet. It comes from the time you spend with the people you love. This mindset protected them from the kind of useless spending that creates modern stress. Trick number 15. Pay yourself first. This was the golden rule that made Alice a homeowner. The moment salary arrived, the very first dollar went into her savings tin. Before bills. Before shopping. Before anything else. She used to say, "If I leave saving for the end, nothing will be left." She treated herself as the most important bill in the house. After saving first, she found creative ways to survive with what remained. This method does more than save money. It makes the mind stronger. It teaches you how to live well, even with less. Trick number 16. The discipline of the dinner table. In Alice's time, leaving food on your plate was considered almost a sin. These were people who had seen hunger with their own eyes. So portion control existed naturally in their homes. Alice never cooked more than necessary. And she never allowed anyone to take more food than they could finish. Every bite had value. As a result, kitchen waste was almost zero. Today, the amount of food we throw away would have been equal to an entire day's earnings for them. Trick number 17. The fourth life of clothes. When clothes became too old to wear, and even patching was no longer possible, their journey still did not end. Alice cut them into long strips and turned them into woven rugs and floor mats. The smallest remaining pieces were used for kitchen cleaning and household wiping. Everything in the house had a purpose. Nothing left the home until it had been used to its absolute final breath. Meat was used only for special occasions, or in very small amounts for flavor. This one habit kept their grocery bill unbelievably low. And somehow, their health was often far better than ours. Trick number 19. The children's penny bank. Alice taught her children from the beginning that every penny was a soldier fighting for your future. Even the few cents children received were placed into a small clay savings bank. When the bank became full, that money was used to buy something useful for the whole family. A book. A game. Something meaningful. This created excitement around saving instead of spending. And those children grew up understanding value, not waste. This generational wisdom became their real inheritance. Trick number 20. The contentment code. The final and greatest trick was not a physical thing. It was a mindset. If you do not need it, even free is too expensive. Alice and people like her stepped away from flashy advertisements and the race to impress others. They were happy in old houses. Mended shoes. Simple meals. Because they were free from debt. To them, true wealth was not what looked rich. It was what protected you when life became difficult. So these were the 20 secret tricks that helped Alice, and thousands of families like hers, not only survive one of the hardest times in history, but become truly strong and financially secure. Today's America, and today's world, may smile at these old-fashioned habits. But the truth is, those people had something many modern millionaires still struggle to find. Peace. Stability. Freedom. They arrived with empty hands. But their discipline was made of iron. And their financial habits were written like stone. They proved that frugality is not poverty. It is an art. An art that makes you the master of your life, not the servant of your circumstances. Now tell us in the comments. Which of these 20 tricks surprised you the most? Do you have a family saving secret passed down from your grandparents? And which one of these habits will you start using from tomorrow? We would love to read your answers. If you enjoyed this historical and informative journey, don't forget to subscribe to Nostalgic America. Like this video. And share it with friends who are looking for smarter ways to save money. Remember, sometimes, one small saving becomes the foundation of a very big dream. Until the next video, take care of yourself and your loved ones. Thanks for watching, and stay with us.